Back with us today is Ramon Rodriguez Estrada, project manager executive and author of the Human Interaction Ninja. Last time, he told us about emotional control, and we had some work to do about that. Today, he reveals the second HIN skill, observation, the 80-20 rule. We have as guest, one more time, David Acevedo, Senior Manager of Process Engineering,
Thanks for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here.
and Pedro Vasquez, Program Manager.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
We'd like to thank Muchomos too for having us and letting us record here today in this lovely space. Ramon, the second hint skill is observation, right? But how come speaking less is such an important skill?
Well, first of all, thanks for being here today to make this day possible. For me, it's very exciting because it's the second episode of the Human Interaction Ninja. We're going to talk about the 80-20 principle. But again, let me start with this quote. I always start with quotes. Dale Carnegie said, to be interesting, you have to be interested. John Maxwell wrote, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that echoes one of my favorite books from Dr. Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And the habit number 5 is seek first to understand, then to be understood. And a lot of people believe that communication is about saying nice things, or doing nice things, or showing off, or being the center of attention. This is absolutely not true. Communication is about observation. And in order to observe, you have to be quiet. You have to pay attention. You know, humans have the capacity to notice 7 things at the same time, plus minus 2. So whenever you're busy thinking or speaking or showing off or whatever you're doing, your brain does not compute what is your surrounding and what is happening around you.
You're not listening.
You are not listening. And for the human interaction ninja, he understands that observation is gathering intelligence, is understanding the surrounding. And for that, let's start with the 80-20 principle. Why 80-20 principle? You talk about Wilfredo Pareto, and there is an unbalanced nature in the world. That's why the Pareto principle applies to pretty much everything. We talked about last time, it applies to economics, applies to statistics. We as engineers, we use it all the time to know the root causes, right? 80% of the problems come from 20% of the causes. This is typically what we deal with in the industry that we work. And observation, this 80% that represents the majority, has to be observation in communication. Why? When you pay attention to your surroundings, you receive input from the outside, and then you can calibrate your responses. In Celia, in the framework that I speak in the book, I have the C, competence, as the very first thing to do in communication. Now, how does this apply in the 80%? The very basic way to show competence is emotional intelligence. This is the very basic way to display competence. As opposed to emotional control, remember we talked about emotional control last time. Emotional control is related to the inner game, how you compute and how you receive the outer world and how you transmute whatever you are perceiving and how you respond. Emotional intelligence has to do with calibration. You're receiving input from the outside as well, but you are also making sure that your response lands correctly in another person. Mm-hmm. And that is competence. How you show competence? Showing emotional intelligence. If somebody is angry or sad or likes to show off or is introvert, there is a lot of people who's introvert, or extrovert, whatever the case, what you do is you calibrate with this scenario, and in order to connect your response with emotional intelligence, have to give the other person what they expect to open them up. You know, there's people that they never talk, but once they have a couple of drinks, you cannot stop it.
You feel confident.
They feel confident.
Yes.
Or on the other hand, you know, there is people who drinks and then they start crying or getting angry or they have
Getting
different
aggressive,
reactions.
yes.
Exactly. So emotional intelligence has to do with regulation of your response to the environment. It's different than emotional. You require emotional control to have emotional intelligence. It's a prerequisite. But that is the C, the competence. Then another important thing in this 80% of observation or being silent is your body language. As in the 80% you don't speak words, you have to show with your body language that you care. How do you do that? Nodding, for example. Whenever you're talking to me, Pedro, and I start nodding, then it signals to you that I'm listening.
And you are understanding.
And I'm
And
understanding
agreeing.
and agreeing with him, somehow agreeing with him. Then another important thing is eye contact. Eye contact, and I will explain now what is the science of eye contact, but eye contact is huge. So calibrated eye contact is important, nodding is important. Leaning in slightly is also important. And one of the things that I read from Vanessa Van Edwards, in my book I talk about it. Have you noticed that in the magazines and in the posters, in the marketing of fragrances or clothing or whatever, you have either the man or the woman like narrowing the eyes, like this.
Like they're so focused.
Yeah, like they're focused. That has some scientific background. They look more attractive when they do that. Okay. And whenever you want to connect to somebody, this is a fantastic tool that I'm going to give you. If you narrow your eyes when you're talking to somebody, at the same time nodding, leaning in, I see. They feel that you are truly listening. So this 80% you use in the Celia framework, you use the C competence, emotional intelligence, and then the language. Those are huge. The other ones are around those, but as you don't speak, you don't have as much, tools. Mm-hmm. But that is huge. So you connect to people. And then I'm gonna say this because this is important. A lot of people, when I say we should use eye contact, they misunderstand. And staring at somebody like this is creepy. You don't do that. You have to do it. Yeah, they feel completely uncomfortable. And there is ways and places to make people feel uncomfortable, if you will, but not in communication if you want to connect to somebody. So how do you do correct eye contact? You look at the eyes, okay, with a subtle smile, you nod, then you make a point, or they make a point, they turn around, and the communication is calibrated. The eye contact is not staring, it's just correct eye contact. Another horrible thing that I see is nodding. Whenever you nod like this, quickly means hurry up. Like, yeah, I get it, move on. So the nodding has to be paused, slow, calibrated. Maybe you tilt your head, natural. Exactly.
The rhythm of the conversation.
At the rhythm of the conversation, correct?
Yeah, to make it natural, to make it.
Yes. If you start nodding like that, people will feel like weirded out. Yeah. It's not okay. And I see a lot of people doing this, but you know what they do? They put the cell phone in the table when they want to talk to somebody. These signals, you are not important to me. And it's funny because we know, there's a special case, especially we have, meetings and calls and emergencies and so on. We like to have the cell phone close to us so we can quickly see or react.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah.
But if you want to truly communicate to somebody, don't put it in the table. Put it in your pocket maybe, put it in vibration, maybe put it close to you
Silence. Yeah.
But make sure it's not a distraction. These signals, I don't care. Having the cell phone is not a good idea. And another thing that people confuse a lot is that silence is just silence. If if you're talking to me and then I'm just looking at the window or looking at the cars or looking at my watch or fidgeting, like moving like this, it signals desperation.
Yeah.
It signals that I'm not paying attention to you. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody and then he's like looking behind you or looking at the window? It feels horrible. You feel completely ignored.
Yeah.
Like there is something more important
Yeah.
than whatever you're saying. So that's the wrong way of being silent. Okay. Doing all these creepy things or these distracting things.
But Ramon, as you mentioned previously, because we are in an engineering environment, so from our experience, in a very fundamental tool that we use normally is Pareto, the
That's right.
80-20 principle, and normally this is the way how we start analysis. We start some other things to prepare business cases and so on. But what is the science behind this in terms of the human interaction?
It's a very interesting question. I'm passionate about the science behind it. And let me explain to you how it works. When I wrote the Human Interaction Ninja, I was thinking of the Human Interaction Ninja as a bartender. Why? Why a bartender? Because in every communication, you give a cocktail of neurochemicals. And there is different neurochemicals. In the case of connection, you have three. One is oxytocin. The other one is endorphins. And the third one, most important, is dopamine. Now, let me explain how it works. Oxytocin is a hormone of bonding. Okay. It's a neurotransmitter and a hormone as well. We are connected. Whenever a woman has a child or gives birth, her brain releases and secretes tons of oxytocin to bond with the child. Okay, so it's the bonding hormone. How it works? Remember last time we were talking about the limbic brain. In the limbic brain, we talk about the amygdala a lot. But in this case, we're not going to talk about the amygdala. This is not what we want in human connection. What we want in this case is the hypothalamus. It's part of the limbic brain. And what it does, it releases the oxytocin to the brain to a part called, I don't know if you're familiar with meditation, but a lot of people, when they meditate, they want to stimulate the pituitary gland. It's like a little knot in your brain. So the hypothalamus releases the oxytocin to the pituitary gland. Okay, and then the pituitary gland releases these to the bloodstream. And it happens in seconds. There is, I don't want to get too technical here, but the hormones are also neurotransmitters. And what it happens is the neurotransmitters travel in the brain like in milliseconds. And then for the hormone to take place, the difference is the step in the process. It takes 1 or 2 seconds for your brain, when I stimulate your brain, to start releasing oxytocin. Okay, so that is the first one, oxytocin. Then the second one, we have endorphins. Endorphins are called, is the hormone of happiness. Yes. They are actually, the word comes from endogenous morphines. Morphine, I'm sure you're pretty familiar with morphine. Actually, it relieves pain. A lot of people use that for pain. Well, endogenous morphine is something you produce. Again, it's a neurotransmitter. It's the same produced in the hypothalamus, and it travels to the pituitary gland. In this case, it's the anterior pituitary gland. in the case of oxytocin, is the posterior pituitary gland. It's a different part of this gland. And then it releases again to the bloodstream the endorphin. How do you do that? Endorphins.
Training.
Exercise, yes, but how do you do it in the communication? Laughter, making jokes. Every time you make a joke, the person releases endorphins. Of course, they need to laugh. They need to like the joke. Don't use passive-aggressive jokes or no. That is the way you activate the neural pathway of endorphins through the hypothalamus. Super interesting. And then the third one is dopamine. Dopamine works a little bit different. It's not created in the hypothalamus. It has to do with the hypothalamus, but it's more using the centric part of the brain. And again, it's a neurotransmitter. In milliseconds, you produce it. How do you do that in people? Do you have any idea?
I think it's creating a little bit of interest or something that can catch the conversation or the link, I would say, to create real connection.
Yes.
Keep the attention or
It's validation. You know what social media uses to keep people hooked?
Yeah.
Validation. Whenever you post something and you have 1,000 followers or somebody is giving you a like, it releases dopamine in your brain. Because it's cheap dopamine, yes, but it's the hormone of reward, of validation. Whenever I nod or I say, I agree with you, Pedro, I'm validating you. You feel accepted.
Yeah.
Whenever I put my face like this and I say, you feel rejected. And then what I'm creating there, I'm pushing your amygdala to release cortisol.
Yeah.
And whenever I say, yes, I agree with you, Pedro, this conversation is amazing. You are amazing.
No.
If I tell you that, what I'm doing is I'm pushing the hypothalamus, the dopamine receptors, and you are getting this validation. You are getting this acceptance. And see, this is as subtle as nodding or leaning in or even paying attention to you. If you're talking and I'm just turning around and just talking to other people, you don't feel validated. But if I turn to you and my feet, this is another important thing, your feet, a lot of people don't pay attention to the feet, but the way your feet are pointing is telling you a lot of things. But that's for another chapter. Here, what I'm doing is listening to you, validating you, giving you the dopamine release. So, remember the bartender thing?
Okay.
Then
It's a cocktail.
it's a cocktail. You are the bartender, you have the glass, you put in oxytocin. How do you put in oxytocin? You remember?
It's creating the link.
The connection, the bonding connection. How you do that, and you have to be careful with this. Slight touch. You have to be careful with this. Yes. There is calibrated ways of doing that. If we are close friends, of course, this is not a problem. But if not, then you have to be careful with that. But there is a study that they made, and this is very interesting, with waitresses. You know, there was a group of waitresses that whenever they took the order from the customer, they had a slight touch 1 to 2 seconds on the upper arm. It doesn't feel weird on the upper arm. And the customers left 20% more tips than the waitresses that were just saying exact same things, but not touching.
Okay.
So it's very interesting, these two control groups. Okay. So it is scientifically proven that touching somebody releases oxytocin like this. Another way to release oxytocin is eye contact. There was also a study made, and actually there is a book about that. You should buy it. You will like it. Did you know that if you put two strangers, one in front of another, complete strangers, a man and a woman, and they stare at each other in the eyes for 4 minutes, they will fall in love.
Fall in love.
Not talking,
strangers.
strangers, out of the street. Why is that? This is amazing. Huh? Why is that? Is because the neural pathways are highly, highly stimulated when you look somebody in the eyes. And if you do it for 4 minutes, complete strangers, there's a scientific paper on that. Just looking in the eyes will make the person fall in love with you, and you fall in love with them
Because of the
the eye contact, the oxytocin.
Because they feel
Yes.
the bond,
Exactly.
even when there's not.
Exactly. It's neurochemicals. It's a cocktail.
I have a question, bro.
Mhm.
Is there a way to create this bond or this connection with no touching?
Absolutely.
A part of the eye contact. For example,
Yes.
putting the example of the waiters. No? You don't. I mean, you cannot touch the person because maybe it's weird.
Yes.
But is there a way to create this connection just talking?
Absolutely.
A part of the eye contact.
And then we will go to the 20%
Okay.
of because we explained the 80%, but that's part of the 20%. But let's jump into the 20% because this is an excellent question. Yes, there is many ways. We said eye contact, touching, all that is without speaking a word. But then when it comes to speak, the 80% is silent with all this interaction, observation. Then the 20%, now we're gonna get a little technical here. Out of the 20%, 80% of that 20% has to be asking questions and stimulating the other person to continue speaking, to talk.
If people continue speaking, they feel the bond.
Exactly. So how you do that? In the Celia framework, again, let's go back to that. The C is competence, okay, emotional intelligence. If you let somebody talk, if you let somebody even bend, there is some people that they just need to bend, to rant, like, the traffic here is horrible, I hate Leon, I hate everybody. And then you are empathic, you have emotional intelligence, and you say, yeah, I see.
You're learning.
It must be hard. I feel your frustration.
Feel validated.
You are valid, you're giving all
You're
these
creating
things.
a bond.
Yes. So I have an acronym for that. So C is competence. Then you have the S, synchrony. And the acronym I have for that is AMP, like an amplifier. AMP. A, ask questions.
Yes.
Ask questions. Now, here's the caveat. You can ask, oh, how are you today? How's the weather? And things like that, which are acceptable, but they are not creating any bonding because those are like the mechanical questions that everybody asks.
The normal ones.
The normal ones. Nobody cares. But if you ask somebody, what was the highest point of your day today? Then you create a little bit of oxytocin.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask, how do you feel about X? Whatever topic. Especially if it's a topic that has relevance, I don't know, about maybe the politics in the US or whatever is a little bit polarizing. Not too much because you don't want to get into arguments.
Right?
But something interesting. And then there is questions that you can go deeper and deeper and deeper, and the oxytocin level increases. For example, if I ask you, what are your biggest fears? It's a deep question.
You always ask.
It's a super deep
Yes.
question.
It's a deep question.
Right.
Or if you ask, what is the thing you're struggling the most that you have not revealed to anybody? You create bonding because now you're digging deeper.
You're showing you care.
You're just showing you care. You want to connect. It's completely different if you ask, how's the weather and what is your biggest fear today? Then you have to go inside, and then you will reveal to me many things.
Yeah.
And you will feel closer just by the fact of revealing this. Your oxytocin, your hypothalamus will start
Yeah,
traveling
I
to
will
the
feel
pituitary
that you
gland.
care. I will feel that you care.
Exactly, you will feel that I care. Because nobody
will
asks
feel
these questions.
Now you will feel the connection.
You will feel it. Nobody asks these questions. Everybody's like, oh, how's your
you?
day? How are you? What did you do yesterday, the weekend?
And actually, those questions you will respond automatically.
Automatically.
Good.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Even if you don't feel good.
Even if you don't feel good, you
will always say
wanna
good.
it. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but coming back to the 20%. Okay, so this is the competence we say. Okay, the synchrony, the A is for asking questions. Then the M is mirroring.
Okay.
If you say whatever, I feel very frustrated because the traffic is really bad. The traffic is really bad. And you do that with an upward inflection. Oh, I hate my job because my boss is an idiot. Your boss is an idiot? What it does, and Chris Voss talks about this a lot. These last 2 to 3 words that you say, if I mirror it back to you in an upwards inflection, it will invite you to talk more. Like if I didn't understand exactly to explain. Whatever you say, I can do it. You can say whatever to me, and I will say the last 2 to 3 words in an upwards inflection. I will invite your brain, especially if I remain silent, and Chris Voss says this, you have to be careful not to rush. Just mirror, let the mirror sink in, remain silent, and the person will immediately try to fill out the space. Yeah. Don't ask again. Or if you feel like the mirror, because honestly, when I started this, I felt very awkward doing that. It feels weird.
Repeating the words?
Yeah, repeating it feels weird.
Actually, it's quite weird.
It's quite weird. But the more you do it, the more automatic it becomes, and the more effective it is. And then I do it now all the time. I do it with you guys all the time, and you don't realize. I do it with you as well. The mirroring thing. So that's the M. Okay. And then the P is paraphrasing. Okay. And this is the hardest. Why? Because you need to repeat back what you heard to the other person, like summarize. And in order to do that, you really have to pay attention. If you don't, then you will not pay attention. Exactly. So how do you know when somebody's paying attention to you? Nothing is okay. Eye contact is okay. Mirroring is okay. Everything is okay. But the very punchy way of letting somebody know that you care is paraphrasing. Okay, pero so what you just said, I understood this, and that. Is that right? You confirm. And you don't worry. If you didn't pay attention completely or you truly didn't understand, don't worry. If you're correct, they will tell you yes. If you're incorrect, they will say, no, Pedro.
They'll keep talking.
And they will keep talking. Either way, you win. Either way, you connect. Because they see that you care, even if you didn't understand.
But you want to understand.
Yeah, you want to understand.
So the first target is to connect.
To connect.
And during the connection, you are understanding the people, understanding the other person, and you are even connecting more.
Exactly. So that's
while you are understanding other people, you are connecting, and while you are connecting, you are understanding.
Exactly. Okay. Observation is what gives you that. And in order to do that, you have 80%. Now we are in the 20%. So we have competence, we have synchrony. I gave you the acronym AMP. Remember that? Ask, mirror, paraphrase. Ask, mirror, paraphrase. Yes. And then you have the emotional resonance, the E. How do you create that? Coming to your question of oxytocin, labeling the emotions. But now you do it to them. You don't do it to you, you do it to them. You start complaining about, oh, my boss is an idiot, he's asking me this and that and that and that. And I mirror, your boss is an idiot. Yes, blah, blah, blah. And then I summarize, but then I say, oh, Pedro, it must be very hard to be in your shoes. Yes, it's hard. Super hard. It feels like you are feeling very frustrated. Yes, I'm feeling super frustrated. He's an idiot. He doesn't understand this. He doesn't understand that. Wow, it looks to me you are feeling desperate. And then I'm giving you this labeling, which will create this emotional resonance. It's like saying, I understand how you feel. And then Chris Voss talks about, don't say I feel, say it feels. It feels. Why? Because if he says, no, it's not like that. Oh, okay. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it feels like. Okay. That's the caveat there. So don't say I feel or I see or I'm hearing.
Maybe you feel. Because
No,
that's what everybody
exactly.
says.
If you say you feel,
No.
then you are not. You are saying you feel,
Yeah.
I don't know.
separating. But if you say it feels like
It feels
you are frustrated, you are desperate, you're sad, you're having issues, you're struggling, it connects. So that's the emotional response. Okay, in the cell. Then the language, we'll talk about language a lot. Remember the meridian rule of communication? 7, 38, 55. The 55 is your body language, right?
Yes.
Nodding, eye contact, all of this is the language. Then the words. How do you create, you said, oxytocin without touching? Coming back to that.
Mm-hmm.
With the labeling emotions, you create oxytocin without touching. And on top of the eye contact, right?
Mhm.
Then paraphrasing whatever they say, you create oxytocin. They feel understood. Remember the book, the very first 3 things that you need to make sure you make the people feel is make them feel safe, then understood, then important.
Yes.
And then another huge part is your voice. I don't know if it ever happened to you, but there is some people when they speak, they like relax you.
Oh yeah.
Their voice. It's funny because they can be even angry and then they just relax. The voice is like, oh yeah, it's so relaxing, you know.
Yes.
The
The volume,
accent,
the
the volume, the accent. And there is some people that speak really high, like we know some people, like, and even if they are making a joke, you see like you're annoying.
Yes.
Shut up. Your voice is horrible.
They're shouting all the time. It's like you're too loud.
Yeah, just the voice. Even if they are being nice to you. Right? Imagine somebody paraphrasing, it annoys you. Even if they are paraphrasing.
I cannot imagine.
Even if they are mirroring.
Yeah.
Even if they are doing all these sweet things. If they are having like this voice that is annoying, you just don't want to speak to them.
Yeah.
But then you use a lower tone, like this. Then see, Pedro, the important thing is how you control your inflection in your voice, the tonality. Okay, it has to make you feel comfortable. But you see, I'm doing it right now, purposely.
But
Do you feel comfortable?
I feel it. I feel it because I was starting now controlling my, like I was slowing
need to
down
breathe.
and I was exactly breathing in a different frequency just by hearing this different.
Just by hearing
Just
the
by the
voice.
totally. Yes.
The tonality, the tempo, the inflections, all of this is
Yes.
suiting the atmosphere.
Like a song.
Right.
Exactly. So this is amazing.
It
So
is.
the voice creates endorphins as well, because whenever you feel super safe, relaxed, you laugh.
You can be yourself.
You can be yourself. You don't feel judged.
Exactly.
You feel accepted. If I'm
Validated.
labeling, paraphrasing, nodding, eye contact, making you laugh, shutting up 80% of the time, and speaking only 20% to make you speak more.
Mm-hmm.
Out of these 20%, you have to be 80% doing all of these things, language. And then the influence triggers. And here, I love the influence triggers in the Celia formula. How do you influence somebody? We remember the 7 principles of Cialdini, right? Cialdini, yes. Here are 3 that are the biggest. The first one is liking. How do you get someone to like you? If you do all of these things that I told you,
Yes.
they will like you. Even if you don't speak a lot,
You are creating connection.
they can even know your name. There's some people that they cannot even know your name, but you did all that. They will say, "Oh, this guy was fantastic. He was an excellent speaker."
Yeah.
And you didn't speak. Yeah, you didn't speak.
Because you were the one who were speaking all the time.
Exactly. So this is amazing. So liking. Then the other thing is reciprocity. Have you ever had this happen to you? I'm sure. Whenever somebody agrees, validates you, And then they all of a sudden say, oh, I have a car. Oh, your car is very beautiful. You try to give them back this to match the reciprocity.
Yeah.
You feel obligated, and it's unconscious.
Yes.
If I'm nice to you, you cannot be mean to me.
Yeah.
You could, but it's difficult.
Yes.
You make it more difficult. You can be mean to somebody who's mean to you,
Absolutely.
right? If I say, Pedro, blah, 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 no, you, and then we start arguing an argument. But if I'm super nice to you, you will feel bad
I will not do.
if you try to criticize me or do something, right? Like something bad to me.
Yeah.
So that's the influence trigger. So then disliking is reciprocity. And another one is social proof. Social proof is when people, normally it happened to me a lot that when I'm with somebody who's a nice person, they will treat the staff nice, everybody, they will treat them really nice, they will make it feel important, and they will know a lot of people. And these people will help you connecting with other people. And a lot of people who wants to do networking, they think that by being super talkative or, like, oh, I'm gonna go to this event and I'm gonna talk to everybody and I'm gonna give my cards to everybody, I'm gonna connect to everybody. Yes, be there, have your cards, but shut up, listen, connect, and then you will connect to them. Okay. And they will say, oh, David Acevedo, I talked to him, I met him at this event. He was a fantastic speaker. He's such a great communicator. He didn't speak. He was just listening to me.
But it makes
Speaking.
people feel good.
Exactly. They will really,
The connection.
the connection, they will say, hey, I invite you to my
Yes.
house because I'm going to have a party and then you're welcome to come because you make them feel so good, so validated.
They want you around.
They want you around. We want people around us who make us feel good. Right or wrong?
Yeah.
Totally.
Totally.
All the time.
Yes.
All the time.
And then the last thing is something I must clarify as well. Out of this 20%, 80% you speak, 20% you speak as well. There is only one exception, or many exceptions. One, when you are teaching. If you are teaching, you need to make your point across, and that is a different cocktail that you serve. It has,
You cannot be quiet.
you cannot be quiet. It has the same ingredients, but other additions, right? Like norepinephrine or even dopamine also creates learning. But that's a different podcast. Different.
Just, just coming back through the 80-20 principle.
Mhm.
And you mentioned that we need to, or the people need to be quiet and listen the 80% of the time. In the rough or the tough situations, when people see you weak, if you remain silent,
You're not talking.
if you are not talking, for example, there is a meeting, there is a rush happening in the company, with your girlfriend, with whomever. If you are just silent the 80% of the time, maybe the people will see you weak, or people will see that you don't know what is happening.
But you're not interested.
Also,
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And yes, I have this asked a lot. Okay, this silence thing, is that weakness? No, it's not. It's absolute power. Have you ever had a meeting with a CEO or a president of a company or anybody in a high rank? They are the ones who speak less. Speaking less is perceived by the brain as higher level, higher status. The more you speak, the more you reveal. And you also, I'm sure you know people who speak a lot. They cannot stop. They are like, la, 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 and they fill every silence with some words. And there is a rule for that. What you're gonna say has to be, number one, true,
Yes.
has to be relevant to the conversation, yeah, and has to add value. Otherwise, you should not speak. Why? It's just noise. And CEOs, presidents of the company, and they don't read my book and they say, "Oh, I'm going to do that." They do it naturally. And the way why they do it naturally, because they are completely conscious of the level of authority they have. Okay. And you will never see any president of a company, any CEO speaking like crazy. Never, ever, ever. You see that in the people who is absolutely not calibrated. And now you say, well, if I remain silent, do I look weak? No, you look weak if you look disengaged, if you look scared, if you have the wrong body language. But even if you are yelling at me or criticizing me, if I'm giving you these verbal and non-verbal cues of nodding, listening, understanding, asking you questions, then you will see my competence. You will see that I'm receiving information. And then when it's for me time to speak, then I'm going to speak something that is true, something that is relevant, and something that adds value. If I do that, you will be struck like with a thunder.
Yeah. And puts you in a higher level.
In a higher level.
Yeah.
In a higher level. And this is what you know very well. We were talking about this, David. How these high-ranked people intervene in the conversations is always smart. So it's always smart. There's few cases where I ever heard somebody in a high-ranked position speaking something that is nonsense. And even in business, and there is a neurochemistry behind that. Whenever you keep silent, guess what? The amygdala activates on the other person. Cortisol starts rising. They feel uncomfortable.
And they want to
feel that
feel
exactly.
Yeah.
And when they feel the gap, guess what they do? They reveal secrets. In a negotiation, people think that, oh, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna demand this and I'm gonna put my blah blah. And then you come to the negotiation and then you don't talk. You listen. Okay. So what is the deal? Oh, here's the deal. You remain silent. They feel anxious. They don't know if they are doing it right, they're doing it wrong, if you're upset, or they don't know, and they start revealing more and more and more and more information. And it's intelligence. Exactly. So you are gathering intelligence. Okay. And then is what the CEOs do. They gather intelligence. They let others speak to understand the surroundings. That's why the fifth, in the book, the 7 habits, the fifth habit, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Once you understand, you gather all the intelligence. Then you say, and then you prepare your question. You have time to think. And then you drop it like a bomb. Okay. And it silences the room. And that is charisma. You know, Vanessa Van Edwards talks about this. She says, the TED Talks. You know TED Talks, right?
Yeah, the TED Talks.
There is some TED Talks that are viral. And she studied hundreds and hundreds of TED Talks. And she realized that the person who has the perfect balance between competence and warmth are more charismatic. Competence and warmth. If you remain silent like a robot, completely disengaged, you don't look warm. You look like a machine, right? You might know everything. And I've asked you, hey, Pedro, what is this? And you might say it like a robot. But that won't make you charismatic.
Yeah. I mean, that opened the other question that I have. Just to put together everything, no? 80% of the time you need to listen, understand, and capture all the surrounding things, no, information and so on. But how we can do or how we can apply this in the different ambience. No? For example, we already talked about businesses. CEOs are always listening, understanding, and then they will say just things that are relevant and, of course, smart. But for example, we are with friends, we are in another situations. Do we need to be 80% of the time silence?
Yes. It depends. If you are teaching somebody something, well, you should not.
No, you cannot.
In the teaching or podcasting now, I'm speaking a lot.
Yeah,
Teaching,
you're speaking.
teaching, podcasting, storytelling. Those are cases where you, with your friends, you can do that as well, but in certain contexts. Remember what I said at the beginning. Don't be interested. Be interested. Because if you try to be interesting with your friends, then you will look for attention. They will give it to you, maybe, maybe not. But then you are the one who's not driving the conversation. You are the one who's being driven. Because the more you talk, the more they drive you. The more you reveal, the more they can make you feel good or bad. You put yourself at the mercy of them, their critics, their body language, their validation. You might be speaking and they're just looking. But if you are quiet, and I'm not meaning just quiet like
The
that.
whole time.
But then you meet your friends, let's say. And then Pedro wants to connect with the friends. But he wants to follow the 80-20 rule. How does Pedro do that? I would approach the group with open body language, shoulders as far as possible from the ears, hands out, not in the pockets, not walking like sludge, open, chest. And then I'm going to say, hey guys, how are you today? Hey, how are you? How is XXX? Oh, what was this, whatever story or thing they had going on that you know? Oh, the weekend, you play golf. Oh, how was it? You win? Yeah, I won, man. Oh, I didn't. And then you start speaking louder, and then you sit down. And then you have David here. And I asked David oxytocin questions. Hey, David, how was the last week? I heard you had this, and this thing going on. Is it really that bad? And then David will start speaking. And then we'll start listening. And we'll start nodding and connecting. And he will go on and on and on. And the people will see that having a nice conversation. And they will join in. They will be drawn in. Always. I do that all the time.
You will lead them.
Exactly. And then when it comes to the point, you can also use storytelling. This is a fantastic way of managing groups. When you are one-on-one, it's better that you let the other do the talking as more than 80%. When you're in a group and the atmosphere is dying, you don't have to be the clown of the group, but you can start with one story, a funny story. Produce endorphins, make them laugh. Produce oxytocin. Like, you can be saying a story, hey, I went the other day with Pedro out and we met these beautiful ladies and all the ladies wanted Pedro. Not part of the center of the story. You see, I'm validating you with my story. I'm saying the story, but you are the protagonist in the story. So you will want to hear more about the story, right?
That story was true, right?
Absolutely. So you see, you use storytelling, but in a way that validates and puts you out of the picture. Don't be the guy sitting saying, I did this, I did that, I had this, I had that.
Super annoying. Yeah.
Super annoying. Or don't go to in a date and then you say to the lady, oh, you know, I have this, I have this car, I'm the president of here, I'm doing that, I make this much money, you know, look at my, it's stupid.
Well, let me step in. Again, I apologize. Because for our audience, maybe it will be super helpful if this question or this, I would say, a scenario. I know that we learn through the time, through the years.
Practice.
You know this better. But for our audience or for the people that doesn't know, how we can step in or meet people that we don't know, but not being like a 42, just
Robot.
a robot, listening and just saying, haha, and okay, just let's put a scenario. I want to meet the friends for my girlfriend, like seven friends in a dinner, no? But I don't wanna be seen as a furniture, as a guy that is just seated, saying, haha, eating and saying goodbye.
But you don't want to be the guy that is talking about himself the whole time.
Actually, and I don't want to be the guy who is the clown of the
Uh-huh.
dinner. No? How we can moderate with these hints, with these skills, how we can moderate to be the man or to be the man, no?
The
or
ninja.
the woman.
Yeah, that's a beautiful point. And this is exactly where I wanted you to think of these situations, because it's easy to say, okay, 80%, okay, 80-20, that's it. But then it's emotional intelligence. Whenever you arrive to a group, you have to watch first. Don't talk, just watch. Of course, you can be warm, like, hey, I'm Pedro, nice to meet you. What is your name? Maria. You have to remember, she's Maria. This is very important.
To
Because
create oxytocin.
to create oxytocin, then you will say Maria. Every time somebody hears their own name, it releases oxytocin and dopamine. It's validation. You know my name. And especially if you do it in social gatherings. So rule number one: arrive to the party. You don't know nobody. Be friendly. Be open. Your body language has to be like, you see these guys in the bar that are like this with the beer, and they are looking around like in the corner. That is absolutely stupid. What you have to do, not to be a clown, but to be open. So you arrive to the party, you say, hi, what's your name? Maria. Okay, nice to meet you, Maria. How do you know whomever brought you to the party? How do you know my girlfriend? Oh, we are friends or we are co-workers, and they start speaking.
You
And
need
then
to ask the question.
you need to ask the
Be able to
question.
speak.
Yes.
You allow them to speak, right?
To gather intelligence. And then you go like that, and then you gather intelligence. And then you have to be sincere. That's the other thing. You know, we were talking about manipulation the other day.
Yeah.
Manipulation, the difference between doing it or not is intentions. If you want to connect to people, you need to think like a cocktail, right? Remember, what cocktail should I give to this group? Oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins. How do you do that, even if you don't know them? Start asking questions. Then people, it's like hooks. You will say, how do you know my girlfriend? Oh, we work together.
That's
And
one thing too.
That's one thing, yes. So they start talking about other things and
And things they have in common.
things
And
they have in common. Not about you. You will never come and you will say, oh, I'm Pedro and I can flex like this. No. Never do that. Just ask questions. Ask questions. Remember AMP. Asking, mirroring, paraphrasing. Asking questions, nobody will get upset if you ask questions. Unless you ask stupid questions or uncomfortable questions.
Yes.
Or like, how are you? This is so boring. You never do that.
Or close question, yes or no question.
Or yes or no. Yeah, exactly. That's very important. Yes or no questions? No. You ask open-ended questions. And I have it in my book and in my course. Sorry, not in my book, but in my course. I created a list of questions with a level, like question level 1, right? Like, how do you feel today? It's different than how are you? How are you?
Yes, totally.
But it's level 1. But if I ask you, Pedro, what is the thing that you have not told anyone about you that you want to share? It's interesting.
You're not gonna respond to questions.
That's a deep question.
You wanna ask the question.
Of course, I'm not gonna start like that at the beginning.
When you just met Maria.
Yeah, no. Maybe you will talk with Maria. How do you feel today? How do you met? You know, and then you go deeper and deeper and deeper. And when Maria is already having some drinks and you are sitting, so Maria, what is the thing that people don't know about you that you believe is your best thing that nobody knows? And then Maria will start like, what a great question. And she will go inside and she will say, wow, never ever somebody asked me this question.
It's a bomb of oxytocin.
It's a bomb of oxytocin. And then she will start thinking, and then she will say,
start thinking good things about herself.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. This is the magic of the questions. So the brain, the hypothalamus will start, then the pituitary gland, everything that we talk.
Start feeling comfortable with you.
Yes. Nobody asked this question. She would say, wow. And if you do it looking at Maria in the eyes, in a soft, so Maria, and narrowing the eyes, what is the thing that nobody knows about you that is absolutely amazing?
I am not Maria, but I have oxytocin now.
You create the freaking thing.
Yeah.
Combining all these things. And then Maria will say, wow. And then she will look for you. Then you will probably go to another table and like Pedro. And then you will have what? Social proof.
Totally. Yes.
People will start looking for you in the party. Yes.
Pedro is the man.
Yes.
And then it happened to you. I know Pedro because you're a very charismatic guy. But what happens sometimes is that all the people want to talk to you. Why? Because you make them feel good.
Yeah.
You're not rejecting them. One of the things that is, I also didn't mention it, but it's a big mistake, is judging the person. Yes. If somebody comes to you and says, I like paddle. I hate paddle. You hate. I hate paddle. And if I start like putting faces like, paddle? That is disgusting. I will create amygdala response.
Yeah, totally.
Cortisol, adrenaline, fight or flight.
People's gonna fight.
It's gonna fight.
Yes.
Or some will fly. It's worse. Some people like, no, I don't want to be here.
Most of the people
I
say,
just leave.
I will not tell nothing about paddle to Ramon because he
He
hates it.
doesn't like it.
Exactly. So
I
you
don't want to feel, rejected.
Exactly.
And it's about how we are keeping the environment safe, right? Safe for the person, safe for the link, safe for the
Exactly.
communication. So we
safety is the basis.
safety as basis, right?
Yes.
So it can continue to the next two, that is
Yes.
basically feeling understood and the important.
Exactly.
They are important.
And I
to you.
think that skill is the skill that most of the most powerful people has to make them feel to all the people, to make them feel good, to make them feel comfortable with them.
Yes. That is charismatic people. You do that very well, Pedro. People love you. I've never seen, or I never heard somebody that says, oh, Pedro is a jerk, or Pedro is bad. Nobody. You have this because you have warmth and competence. Sometimes more warmth. They say, oh, he's like a clown. He's the soul of the party, but he's not competent. If you are too much competent, yeah, he's competent, but whenever you're around, nobody speaks and everybody's like afraid. It's like, I don't know. But you have to have the two. The more you balance the two, warmth and competence, you are very successful. I was saying, Vanessa Vanegas studied all the TED Talks, and the ones that are viral, they were warm, competent. And if you do that in any social gathering, you will be successful, warm and competent. Competent emotional intelligence, you do all the things that I just shared, the AMP, remember?
The amp.
The AMP is always important.
It's a good tool.
It's a good tool. The labeling, it feels like you are, it sounds like you feel, it seems like,
Seems.
It
feels like.
yes.
Feel like this.
And I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated. And then they started like it's you unravel a cocktail of all these, you give everybody a shot of your cocktail. So the human interaction ninja is a bartender.
After thousands of key points and information, I think that it would be helpful. I don't know
Yes.
if we can practice.
To
Just
clarify
make
this
an
to the
exercise.
audience by a really quick role play, but not as friends of Pedro's girlfriend. Let's say we are.
One of them.
Okay, see,
Bueno.
we start repeating things. Okay, let's imagine we are in a heated executive meeting. We have a customer. You're not a customer.
Okay. I can do it.
Yes, that you're really upset because you're not getting the response you want.
Okay.
Yes? You ready?
Okay. I mean, thank you. Okay, let's start. So this meeting is useless. As always, guys, you're wasting my time. I see no sense on having this kind of conversations with you guys anymore. You're always late in deliveries. You're always with a poor analysis and data, and there is no strong actions that can get us rid of this situation. You are putting my company on risk. You are putting me in a situation with my customers with a safety. So what are you going to do different starting now to get out of this situation?
Well, yes, it's a fact that our staff was not trained properly. There were some issues during the ramp up phase of this program or this project that the staff was not hired as expected. There were issues with the region, not enough people to contract. Um, the the stabilized process of the hiring people, it was not the good one. Um, Also, some topics that are affecting us regarding the town carnivals and so on is, well, we cannot control at all. No?
Please stop. Please stop. You're again giving me excuses, again giving me no data, no fact, no way that this will be done. You know, this is really giving us the impression that you don't know what you're doing. You don't know your processes, you don't know your product, and you are putting us on risk. You understand this, right?
Yes, yes, we understand, and actually we have a plan in place to train the people. No? We will have a meeting next week to establish a plan to train them. No? We can. I mean, the thing that we can promise now or compromise now is that the people will be trained in 6 weeks, fully trained in 6 weeks. Um, Next week we will have a meeting with the key persons to understand how to do this approach. Also, there is a fact that I need to say the requirements were not ready by the time that we used to have. You ask it for pieces one day to another day. So I mean, and apologize, but it's not on our hands. But I think that we can compromise is next week we can have a meeting to tell you what we will do. At this moment, we don't know, but we can tell you.
This is again late. Again, 1 week more. Again, one expectation that you will not cover again. And these requirements are not recent requirements. This is more than a year that we have been in this situation. And believe me, guys, this cannot be. This cannot continue like that.
Yeah, well, yes.
Pedro, please allow me. David, evidently you are very frustrated. Our performance is absolutely unacceptable. I'm hearing that we have delayed and delayed and delayed. And this is absolutely not acceptable. I will assume the responsibility. If you allow me, I can get together the team and prepare an expedited plan to have answers for you in the next 2 hours. Is that fair enough?
Thank you, Ramon. I see that you're compromising with a fastest response, which is the expectation from my company. Let's meet us in 2 hours, understand what is your proposal, and then we can continue with this conversation.
Yes, I appreciate that. And what specifically you expect within 2 hours so we understand and we are calibrated on your expectation?
At least we need to realize where we are. We don't know at this moment where we are in general. So please give us the view gives us the sense that you are now understanding the issues.
Absolutely. Let us get together. Let us put together a plan. And please help me understand from all the issues that we have, what would be the first one you would like us to present, to tackle first? What is the most emerging topic of all of them?
Okay, so now that you come into the details, so please, we have to cover all our demands. First, we are late in deliveries. We have to come with a plan, a robust plan that will meet our expectation in terms of all the demand that we are now in place.
All the demand?
All the call-ups that we have transmitted in the past weeks.
In the past weeks?
Yes.
Okay. Let us put that together and we will come back to you with specifically how we're going to cover the demands. Because my understanding is we are late, we've been late, now we're asking for another 2 weeks, we don't have that. Let us prepare a plan, and the plan must ensure that we deliver the full demands immediately. The, let's say, fastest time possible. Is that right?
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yes, it's what we're looking for.
Thank you. So David, let's talk in 2 hours. Team, come to my office.
It was quite hard, no, to being the weakness guy, saying, I don't know, showing weaknesses in our process or in the process. But honestly, it happens. It happens to me. It happened to us very often because of maybe one person or many persons from the team. They don't know how to react, and they don't know how to be, I would say, above the situation.
That's right.
I think the approach that you made, Ramon, which is basically these skills, give confidence to the people who is listen that you know what we need to do. And the second is calm, no? Because David, I mean, you were angry. You were angry and you were frustrated and pushing.
Right.
You know? And after the second round of talking between you and me, I was just stopping myself and saying, I don't know, because I didn't know.
Did you feel like your heartbeat racing?
Yeah,
Did you feel like anxiety? You see, this is another important point I want to make. Even if it's a role play, having somebody yelling at you,
You can see. You can.
even if it's a role play, you will feel nervous. You will feel anxious. You will feel the cortisol racing, the adrenaline racing.
I
will feel it.
I feel it. Yeah.
Even if it's a role play, right? And you as well. I'm sure when you were
Totally.
having these angry thoughts, your heartbeat started pounding even,
Harder, yes.
harder.
Yeah, I felt
Also during the exercise, because I was, putting all emotions in front, everything related to emotions, and then when you were trying to deal with this, let's say, no troubles actions and late again and so on, you were just making me more frustrated, feeling a little bit more power over you and so on. But when you try in the other way, when you try to ask me for a specific thing, okay, let's uncover you. What is behind you? What you want? More details about that. Then I start okay, now emotions are gone. You have to think what exactly I want from these guys, because at the beginning was just pushing, but then later I was trying to get, let's say, an action, right?
Correct. An action. I mean, it's incredible how even if it's a role play, you feel now that we are aware, because we're aware now.
We were aware.
We now realize, whenever I try to think and be emotional at the same time, it's not possible. You are either emotional or logical.
Logical, yes.
But you cannot combine the two. And you making excuses and having all these things, you saw his frustration. He was racing and racing. And you were getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah. Just saying things and then yes. It was good. Yeah. I felt that, I mean, inside of me, I felt nervous, saying, I don't know. And then I just saw David and David saying pushing harder and harder, and I say, hey, David, it's a role
It's not for real.
Yeah.
But how do you notice, or what did you notice? I'm going to ask you first, Pedro, that I did. Now we've been talking for an hour or something like this, right? What did you notice that I did to calm David down?
The first is, you listened very well. What happened? That's the key point.
I didn't speak at the beginning.
Nothing. Then you asked him key questions to learn about his feeling and also the problems that he has.
That's right.
No? Or have. So with those two things, you understand it very well, the situation, and you can propose the things. And then you propose them. I feel, or it feels to me that you are frustrated because of this. And he said, yes. No? He was validating.
Labeling their his emotions.
You are frustrated. And then you asked for specifics. No? As you said, those specifics let David take off the emotional situation or
That's
emotional
right.
feelings, saying, okay, I need to think to tell him what I need specifically, and then all the situations turn over from emotional to logical, saying and proposing things. I think that this is the main, I would say, frame that you
Yeah.
can have from this conversation.
You said it very well. Exactly, that is what we try to do here. First, listen, keep quiet, gathering information.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, to that specific point, you remember I was pushing and pushing because late, and then you offer an action plan that will happen in
2 weeks.
or-
We know clarity. Yeah.
Exactly, with uncertainty in time, let's say frame that is not gonna work. And then Ramon mentioned 2 hours, like a super aggressive time. Like, okay, in 2 hours we will meet again, and then we will offer you.
Yeah.
But what do you need? What do you want to see in these 2 hours?
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, yeah. Now we're talking about the speed at first because we will not be, in the next week. And then now we are speaking about fights where we need to be concentrated at first. So
Correct.
that's from my point of view.
It's directing the emotions to the logical thinking, killing the emotions.
And also is having a combination of our previous episode, right?
Yes.
Emotional control.
Emotional control.
First of all, the last episode, it was inside. Us, no, each of us. Now we are, or you driven David from the emotional to the logical, right? And that's, I think that the Pareto principle is helping to drive the people to the emotional to the logical.
That's
In this scenario, no?
And there were seconds, because he was speaking, he asking short questions and asking me or trying me to make me speak more. And then there were seconds. They were not like a 3 minutes that I was talking and then he was talking maybe 30 seconds. No, it was 2 seconds that he performed a big question and then I was explaining 5 seconds, 8 seconds or something like that. So the rule of 80-20 applies perfectly. So it was absolutely. It is not necessary that in a very, let's say, time frame, a big time frame, can be in a super short time.
Yeah.
It was good.
And did you see the release of oxytocin? How did I do that? I labeled his emotion. Evidently, you are frustrated. Evidently.
Right.
I put that word. I didn't just say, you're frustrated, or looks like you're frustrated. Of course he's frustrated. It's evident. But I made the emphasis. Evidently, you are frustrated. Then he feels what? Understood. Remember? Safe?
Understood.
Understood. He didn't feel safe with you. But then I jump in and then I say, evidently you are frustrated. He feels, oh, okay, these guys get it. It doesn't mean that he agrees with me but at least he knows that I get him.
Yeah.
So he felt understood. And then I said, it's absolutely unacceptable to have this type of responses. Now, what he saw there is empathy. I'm making a form of empathy in a difficult situation. So whenever somebody's angry, you cannot just connect sweet and nice. No, you need to inject empathy like a big shot immediately. And the way you do that is labeling the emotion. It looks like this is absolutely horrible for you. So you label it. And then you agree with them. It's unacceptable. What is happening is unacceptable. So you inject empathy. And then with this combo, his brain starts releasing oxytocin. And also dopamine, because I'm validating him. He's not like, I'm not crazy. Somebody sees the same. It's not me that I'm crazy. Mm-hmm. So I'm injecting dopamine. And then from there, as you said very correctly, I move him from the emotional brain to the logic, asking specifically. So what do you expect in 2 hours? Mm-hmm. I give you this, and this is another technique. You were talking about 2 weeks. I talk about 2 hours. So I'm putting here a complete opposite scenario of what you're giving him, because he feels like you are not listening to the urgency. This is what frustrates him. He is not even listening to you because he's so angry that you just don't get it. The moment you say 2 weeks, for him it's like he shut off his brain completely. He don't care. He don't care what you say. It's just for him like, this guy is not getting it. And he just don't listen anymore. He's completely into his amygdala reaction. And to move him from the amygdala reaction, you need to do that. You need to have strong contrast of whatever is happening. If time is the constraint, I say, okay, 2 hours. And look, I'm not committing that in 2 hours I'm going to resolve. No, I'm just saying, give me 2 hours to gather my team and prepare a plan. I'm not even saying that in 2 hours I'm going to resolve it. Maybe in 2 hours I come up with a plan like will last 5 weeks. Really?
But I mean,
but now he's out of his limbic brain and he's not frustrated because in 2 hours, it gives the illusion like, okay, quick in 2 hours, but it might come that the plan, it takes 6 weeks or something like this.
Yes. At the end will be logical. At the end, because that now I feel the empathy, I feel that you're moving in the way that we should.
You want to.
Yes. That I want to, exactly. Mm-hmm. So, yes, definitely that.
Yes, but you need to, whenever I present the plan, if it were the case of the real life, I will say something like in the plan, okay, I'm going to probably train the people in 6 weeks or 8 weeks, but I'm going to deliver, that's why I ask specifics. The EDI columns, okay, I'm going to deliver this first, and I'm going to fly maybe these parts, and I'm going to do this and that, and that will allow me to train the people and do the other things that I need to do. Mm-hmm. But I need to offer him something. I need to validate him. The moment I validate him, I do what? I inject dopamine.
Okay. Well, because we have learned, I mean, in this session, after the 1 hour of talking of the science behind of the Pareto principle, no, and also how to apply this technique in several scenarios that we mentioned before. Also, this role play gives an example to our audience to try to understand better this skill.
Yes,
no?
Absolutely.
But I mean, just to be super content to this skill, no? How to practice this or the practical training. How to train? Yeah, how to train this this skill. I mean, it's honestly, for me, it's interesting to understand how to train the 80-20 principle.
Okay, so let's go to the daily drill. Remember last time we talked about how to make yourself emotional, control yourself emotionally.
Mhm.
Now here, there is things I do. And openly speaking, this skill is the most difficult one for people that are assertive or extroverted because we like talking. I like talk. I love talking. I love teaching. As you said, I want to share a lot of things.
Mm.
And sometimes I forget that the 80-20 rule, if you want to connect to somebody, needs to be applied. If you don't care about connection, then you can do whatever you want. But if you really want to bond together with somebody, you need to connect. So what can you do? First, and this is serious, make a conscious decision in one interaction a day. Don't talk. Let them talk. Let them talk. And if the conversation is not like the person is not very talkative, remember the AMP.
The
Ask
AMP.
questions,
Mirroring.
and paraphrase. This is very important. So you go, for example, with some friend or some colleague. In order to make it a little harder, don't do it with the person that you know you have a lot of things in common and say, make it a little bit of a challenge.
Mhm.
Go to somebody who's probably you know him or you know her, but not like very well. So you let them talk. Because the idea is to grow your relationship with the person. So you need to go and then apply the 80-20 to one interaction. And you can record it. I know this is something weird, but secretly record how you are interacting with the person. Of course, you're not going to talk about sensitive things or, things that you're not supposed to talk. But the moment you record it, you will realize of a lot of things that you do wrong. And then if you just remember, ask questions. David, what are you doing today? What is the most critical topic you are managing today? And then he will start, this, and that. This, and that? Yes, this, and this. So if I understand David's paraphrase, what worries you more is this, and that. Yes. And then you can loop again, asking more questions. And what would be the next thing? And the next thing. And then you can do endless AMP all day. Do it one time consciously, because it's like when you learn to ride a bike or drive. At the beginning, when you're driving a car, you have to think about, the pedal, the wheel, the mirroring, etc. But once you do it normally, it's unconscious. And the more you practice, the easier it gets. So one time a day. It doesn't have to be like an hour conversation. It can be like 5 minutes conversation. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be complex. No, just like that. That's number one. Then number two is remember always to inject the cocktail. See yourself as a bartender. And you can do that, and this is for another podcast, but you can do that also with cortisol and adrenaline. What David did was to inject cortisol and adrenaline. He served you a drink of cortisol and adrenaline, which is a bad drink to drink because you don't want that. Unless, a lion is chasing you and you need to run for your life, then it's good. But other than that, it's not good.
But I think just in that case.
Just in that case. So how do you give the cocktail? I'm going to give you tools, okay? So number one, you do active listening. No, especially if you're in front of the person, it's better than in Teams or on the phone because they cannot see you now. Mm-hmm. But if you're on the phone, you can use the okay. These sounds will make that same, not at the same level, but somehow replace if you're on the phone, for example. No? Mm-hmm. So you know they are listening. Active listening. Pay attention. Second, is nodding. Do this. This invites people to continue talking unconsciously, just nodding. And again, don't do this nodding because it means like, hurry up.
Yeah.
You know, I get it. Speed up. No, it's just like when you tilt your head. So nodding. Number 3 is eye contact. People, even if they are completely unconscious, they will notice eye contact. So eye contact is important. Right? I'm doing it right now. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. Now I'm doing eye contact because that creates bonding, oxytocin. Okay? Then you have, if possible, and you have to be calibrated with this, slight touch. Okay? With your friends, it's not a problem. I think from culture to culture is different. You know, in some cultures it's easier than others.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful with that. But let's say that the most common acceptable touch that can be done is on the upper arm and the shoulder. This area in most cultures is acceptable to slight touch. Now, don't be creepy and touch like this. No, it's like 1 or 2 seconds. Hey, the other day, da-da-da. Okay. It's so fast, and this area is so unconscious that people will not detect it at conscious level. They will not see like this. They will not do it. They will just feel it. Like if I say, hey, you will not notice consciously. It will be so fast and so irrelevant that if I touch you here, it's different, no?
Yeah.
Completely different. Or the legs. No, don't do that creepy thing.
Okay,
So, slight touch. Number 5, and this is for endorphins. Make them laugh. Make jokes. Even people think that because you are in a business environment, you cannot make jokes. You can make jokes every time. And it will release the tension. Have you ever started a meeting and somebody made a joke and everybody laughs and the meeting went smoothly? Yes.
Yeah.
Just because one joke, probably not even related to the topic, but it releases endorphins and then everybody relaxes. It's super key that you make a joke. You have to be careful though, what type of joke. Don't do passive aggressive jokes or things that could be interpreted as, you know, negative or black humor or anything like that. Don't do that. Just simple things. You know, like you show up late to the meeting. And I said, sorry, I had to go to the bathroom. It was an emergency. It's something silly, but people will laugh. They imagine you going to the bathroom and then having the urgency. I'm sorry to be late, but I really had to go to the bathroom. Otherwise, you will not like it. Or things like that. Something silly. Okay. Then the number 6, or the next one I would say, is acceptance. You prove acceptance by nodding, eye contact, and also kind of listening to them. You kind of connect, paying attention to them is acceptance. Just paying attention is acceptance. You don't have to say nothing. Just by the mere fact of being open to you is acceptance. And that will give you what? Will give you dopamine. Dopamine is acceptance. Now, another good thing that you can do is validation and praise. And you have to be careful here because it has to be sincere. Otherwise, it will completely backfire. If people feel like you are trying to manipulate them or say things that are just completely not true, they will get mad. Yes. Really mad.
Yeah.
Like if I say to you, oh, Pedro, you are you're blonde. This is absolutely ridiculous. You're not blonde. Oh, you look very blonde compared to other. Yeah, this is completely fake.
Not be fake.
It's completely fake. But if I say, Pedro, you're a very charismatic person, and you truly believe it, this is the beauty of things. When you truly believe things and you say them, they will land correctly. So that's why I try never to say something that I don't feel, because you're not sure. You don't feel it.
Yeah.
And if you do it, maybe it will work, maybe not. But if you get caught, you will completely destroy the relationship. So I don't recommend that.
Makes sense.
Be honest. And now you say, well, what if the person has nothing good? Believe me, there is always something good to say about it. Even if you can give indirect compliments. For example, if I come to you and there is nothing I know about you and I don't see nothing sincerely good that I can say, then I can probably say something like, I really love your notebook because I like your notebook. It's an indirect. Yeah. I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about your notebook. I really like your notebook. And this is something true. I like it, right? Or maybe you're drinking your coffee, huh? Smells like a fantastic coffee. I'm talking about the coffee, and it's true. But I'm giving you positive feedback through the coffee. If I say, your coffee smells fantastic, you will feel still this.
Yeah. Good.
This good feeling, this validation, you know? And praise. Now, the number 8 is the tone of voice. You want somebody to relax, lower the tone of your voice. Speak slower. Look in the eye. And important thing is to even put a little bit of emphasis. Like, Pedro, if you and I work together, we're going to be such a fantastic thing. And then I lower my voice and I say it quietly. It will land. And there is scientific studies, for example. If you tell your girlfriend, I love you, she will be, okay, I love you too. But if you tell the I love you or say the I love you close to her ear, like, it will completely activate the oxytocin like you cannot believe.
Another hormones.
Oh, yes, absolutely. A lot of hormones, but just saying it in the ear like a secret will completely change the reaction. Saying I love you or I love you will be, and same with everything. Of course, it's your partner, okay? This is not to do with your business associate. Absolutely not.
Not to your boss.
So use the voice. And then whenever you mirror, try to move upward. Don't do that when you're talking about the subject. If I say, I don't know, if I say John Maxwell said, it's like asking, then I will be perceived as not competent.
But you don't know.
So whenever you speak, you want to sound competent, make your voice inflecting downwards.
Okay.
John Maxwell said this, and that. But when you mirror, you do it upward. Is that right? Did you go? Like a question. I'm inviting, you know? And then the last one is a touch of mystery. This is very important, and I talk about it in the book a lot. Whenever you talk, the more you talk, the more you reveal. And the more you reveal, the more, let's say, it is a lot more possible that you make mistakes. So talking opens the door for making a lot of mistakes. This is the reality. Okay? And the more you talk, the more mistakes you can make. So if you don't talk much and only talk when, remember, is something true, something important, and something that will add value, then your words will be powerful. But if you just talk to feel the emptiness, it's just not good. Okay, so those are the things, the tips. Everyone releases different neurochemicals. Then the number 3 is the micro expressions. We didn't talk a lot about this, but whenever you're speaking to somebody and you're quiet, you can see in them their, because you are paying attention, you can see their reactions. Have you ever had this thing that you're talking to somebody and they make a face like, I don't like what you're saying, but it's so quickly and so subtle?
Yes.
They don't want you to know, but they're, and they come back to the fake position.
Yeah.
But if you don't pay attention, you don't notice. And if you don't notice, you continue talking about the same subject, and then you will destroy the connection. So you have to pay attention.
Yeah.
You know, in the FBI, and Chris Voss talks about that. When the negotiator, the FBI negotiator is talking to the hostage negotiator, or the let's say the guy who's robbing the bank, or the kidnapper, or whatever, he's talking to him, but then they have people just observing him. Like, if it's possible via cameras, if it's not possible, they are just listening to the conversation to catch other things that you cannot see. Whenever you are communicating to somebody, you don't see many things.
Yeah.
You missed all this information. So in the police, that's what they do. They are observing. Somebody's observing, somebody's listening, somebody's making notes, somebody's paying attention to the tone of voice, if it goes up and down. Really, this is what they do. And they have an entire team and guy negotiating with the other guy, but the other guy is observing. Why? Because we can only pay attention to 7 things at a time. So pay attention to the micro expressions. That would be the next thing.
Okay.
One time a day, go, sit down and listen, or maybe you can do it while you're doing the 80-20. You can sit down, listen, and just pay attention to the micro expressions whenever they are speaking. So that's the number 3. Then the number 4 is something that is called the pregnant pause. And this is super important. When you're having a conversation, the other person runs out of words at some point. There is some people that is amazing, they can go for hours. But at some point, they will run out of steam. And then you count 1, 2, 3 seconds, and then you speak. Okay. Make that space in the communication, because you see, nowadays people are talking, but then I'm listening, but I'm not listening. I'm thinking about what I'm going to say next. And you're not listening. You're not listening. You're talking about football. Yeah. And I want to say this. And then I'm just waiting for you to shut up so I can say it.
Just to speak.
Just to speak. Yeah. And this is the incorrect way. Okay, so this is the pregnant pause. And then there is another thing that is called the paralinguistic or paralanguage scan. Yes, and that is paying attention to the changes. I don't know if you had this experience. You were with a business associate or with a friend, and everything was excellent. And then something happens, and they change their body language, or their tone of voice, or they change something. They get a little bit more nervous. Maybe you touch a subject that it was not something good for them, you know? Yeah. You need to pay attention to these paralanguage things. Why? Because that means that you trigger something in them. Maybe you were talking about your dad, and his dad died a year ago. And then he's completely sad, and you don't even notice. So you need to stop and then reflect on it. Like, I see you feel a little bit, it seems like something is bothering you. And the fact you acknowledge, you label again, they will respond, and they will probably say, yes, it's because you said this and that. And, you know, this happened to me. My dad died a year ago. And then you know, and then you can calibrate, you know? Otherwise, you can go off for hours completely ignoring his feelings.
You can, after that, you just broke
the report, the communication. And then the last reel is observation. I used to do this at the beginning of the year. You probably didn't notice, but I was in the meetings and I was just taking notes of who spoke more, what did I see, who's angry, who has this tone of voice, who's the authority, just like a journal of things that are happening when you are observing. Like if I were to say, David, just look at this and tell me what you see, then you need to record it. Okay, so those are the daily drills. You don't have to go nuts. You have to do it probably 1 time, 2 times a day, and then go from there.
Thank you. Ron. I mean, this is helpful, not for us, but for everyone that wants to become Pareto skill master. If you wanna, I would say, to get the attention from the people that are seeing us, which phrase would you say about this episode?
This episode summarizes to me in the following: don't be interesting, be interested. This is the most important phrase that I want everybody to remember. Don't be interesting, be interested. We like being interested all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most of the people.
I feel that the same. Okay.
But the more you are interested, the more you become interesting.
Mm.
So that'll be the last thing I would say for this podcast.
Okay. And the phrase that you mentioned, no? To be interesting, be interested. No? This is a key point for the people to want to be interested. No? What other phrase can you, I would say, make a summarize in the to attract? I mean, to catch all the people saying this is the key of the 80-20 Pareto in the human interaction. As a ninja, I would say.
So the ninja would say, the HIN would say, speak little, watch more, in silence. Everything, the world, will unmask itself.
Powerful. This is powerful. I mean, it's nice. It's powerful. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you very much.
Well appreciated.
Thank you.
Pedro, David,
Very nice time.
any
Thank you.
last words that you want to share?
No, just to thank you. Basically, we have been experiencing a lot of things. Thank you for sharing this learning with us.
Yeah, thank you. Ron.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to mention something. Thank you for Mochomos Leon to let us, I mean, for the spot and let us have this podcast this time. Appreciate it. Well appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Mochamos. Thank you.
Thank you.
The house.
The first HIN skill was emotional control. The second one, observation. Wilfredo Pareto said that imbalance governs nature and the world, and the ninja uses this to human interaction. 80% of the truth is revealed when you remain silent. The world is addicted to noise, but the ninja that speaks 20% and listen and observe 80% thrives in that silence where people give themselves away. Next title, sharpen the third HIN skill, communicating to system 1, language of instinct, image, and emotion. But for now, our mission is clear. Observe deeply, hold silence, and claim the power that others give away. We want to thank you, and thanks Mochamas for having us here.